Alright guys, so today we're going to be installing an anti-gravity battery in a Ferrari GTC4Lusso V12. The H8 Group 49 is made specifically for the 12-cylinder. We have a lithium charger. Make sure you do get a lithium charger, not just an ordinary charger. The battery requires it. Now the battery came in at just too little on low on two lights, so we're going to let that charge for a few hours before we get started on the install. Okay, here we are ready to swap our battery. The battery is on the passenger side, right in that corner over here. So we're going to have to remove this paneling over here. You need, I believe they're T25 torque screws. So we're going to go ahead and remove this liner piece over here that just pulls right out. There's a little ledge over there. As you can see, that goes right in there. So we're just going to slide this guy right out. And we got one little plastic screw over here, which I'll remove. Okay, so that plastic screw, you just kind of push it up from the bottom, apply some pressure, it'll come off. Okay, so this other plastic cover needs to come off. Note that your car might have another torque screw in this area here. I removed this panel several times, so I just decided not to put that screw anymore. It was kind of a nuisance. So I'm going to go ahead and use T25 screws to remove these, and these flaps over here, they just twist these open here, and that just comes right off. There's your battery right there, and I'm going to remove this panel now. Okay, so I popped off the negative first 13mm socket over here, and that was right over here just like that. So I just popped that guy off. Next, just popped off this cover. So now I have access to loosening this screw here, 10mm, that one over there, and another one over here, the bracket that kind of holds the battery in place. So we're gonna go ahead and access these, and I'll probably remove this guy here. I'm not really sure what this is for, maybe an aftermarket product, but I'll go ahead and remove this guy here as well, so I can kind of flip this over. Okay, one thing to note here, you had two Phillips screws that were over here. At least they have them on the GTC4Lusso. I don't think the FF has them, so you need to remove these screws. It's kind of like a safety anchor that keeps this whole plastic structure tied down. So this has been loosened. These two screws have been removed. 13mm over here. Removed this guy here, and my aftermarket wiring that's over here. So this should be ready to just pop right out. Alright, as you can see here, these little guys, I had to use a flat screwdriver to pop it out. So now this was holding the battery in place. Now that those screws are out, this plastic safety clip is out of the way, this is ready to come off and slide right out. Okay, so I went ahead and tie wrapped this positive terminal accessories away, so I'm able to access the battery over here. Move that out of the way. As you can see here, this battery had that hold down safety feature, which I probably won't be using, the red plastic piece on the anti-gravity, because it doesn't have those inserts. So most likely this is maybe a battery specifically designed for the GTC4Lusso. So all I got to do is take those 10mm, get this out of the way, and I'm going to pull the battery now. Okay, so got those two screws out. My heat shield here was covering the handle. This does look like an original battery. So I just flip this over here so I have access to pull this battery out slightly at an angle, forward angle, and that's how you're going to be able to pull this guy out. It's heavy. Okay, to make my life a little easier, I decided to pop this guy out here because I was struggling getting the battery out. All this stuff here, bracket system, was all kind of preventing this from popping out easy. So this was right there, and you had this torque screw right in there. So it's the same size as your plastic pieces to cover your plastic component over here. So same size torque screw, that'll do it. So I took this off, pull this out. There's another little wire that's attached to it. Use a flat screwdriver to pop it out of the way, and then this whole bracket clamp down system will you'll be able to take out and pop the battery out easier. I've seen some people removing this whole back end. I don't think that's necessary. You're just kind of opening a can of worms, so I'll just stick with this method. Okay, as you can see here, I managed to get it up at an angle and rest it on over this. There's like a metal structural piece over there sitting at an angle. It's not easy. As you can see, it's a good thing there's a handle. I did use like a pry bar, and as I raised the battery, put the pry bar underneath and kind of work with the pry bar and the handle at the same time to get this at this angle. So not too much left, and I'll pull it out and do the swap. Okay, last step over here. Managed to pull this guy out at an angle like I mentioned. You got this wire here that's connected to the battery in this whole terminal area. All you got to do is just remove that screw, loosen this guy over here with a 10mm socket, and then that'll go ahead and free up. There we go, and our battery is free and clear. Okay, so here's the old battery, and that's the heat shield. It just slides in and out, and it's an absolute breeze lifting this guy. Pretty much lift it with one finger, and this thing is heavier than a block of concrete. That's how heavy it is. So we're gonna go ahead and put this guy back in here, and we'll just do the same way, reverse. Come back over here. As you can see, that's the big hole for the battery. These guys are stuck there, so nowhere to lose them, so they're not going anywhere. Some of the other cars where that thing sometimes will just fall down, and we're just gonna go ahead and reconnect this guy on the negative, slide it in, then reconnect this guy with our torque screw, and just work backwards from here. All right, so here we are, anti-gravity with the heat shield. I just went ahead and put this negative terminal back on with the 10mm socket. This is still connected over there. I'm gonna slide this guy right in there and then proceed with my bracket system. All right, so managed to squeeze the battery in. It was very tight, as you could see here. I kind of, scraped part of the frame as I was trying to slide that in. You can see down there that it sits in its slots. The heat shield is on properly. I went ahead and secured the 10mm bolt. Then you got your negative terminal over here, which I'll do that at the end. So next is snip off my tie wrap over here, put this guy back on the positive terminal, and then at the end I will reconnect the negative terminal, ground it to the car, put that cover back on, and put the weather stripping and the plastic covers, then we should be ready to start it back up. So the positive is now secured with the 10mm wrench here, 13mm socket. We did have this plastic piece that kind of went into the battery, I guess, so it doesn't swivel or anything, but this is pretty much trash at this point, and that's not going anywhere. This is secure as well, so we're just going to go ahead and put this cover back. Okay, and gonna secure my quick release ground. Lastly, gonna connect it back to the frame. Everything is put back together. As you can see here, weather stripping, everything's back together. So apparently there's a few little things that we're supposed to do. I'm gonna go ahead and follow those procedures just to play it safe. We'll unlock, lock. That seems to be working. Let's go ahead and open the trunk. That's good right there. Apparently we're supposed to test out the windows as well. Let's go ahead. Well, we got to put it on ignition 1. Bonnet open, that is correct. Windows go up and down just fine. Alright, let me go ahead and close that bonnet. Apparently you're supposed to let it leave it open half on for about a minute. One thing to note here is that I did have to put my hand underneath the battery as I pulled it out and pushed it back in. So I put my hand underneath the frame, kind of like around that where the ground was, and to kind of assist with pulling it in and out. So let's go ahead and start this puppy up and see how it goes.
Interference detection active.
Alright, that's relatively quick start to it. Started very fast. Usually it kind of hesitates, but no problems here. In case you were wondering, that was a cold start on Novatech full exhaust. Alright, I don't have any funky lights on. Everything is good. Sometimes my engine light will come on because of the catalytic converter that's gone. So, looking good. And that's a wrap.